with us Dr. Giorgia Riboldi-Tunnicliffe, a visionary leader and a subject matter expert shaping the landscape of the LATAM and APAC regions for SOPHiA Genetics. With a rich tapestry of over 2 decades in the industry, she stands as a seasoned science professional with a knack for steering projects across the realms of research and clinical sectors. Renowned for her robust organizational acumen, administrative skills, and stellar interpersonal and communication skills, she is celebrated as a collaborative force within the team, demonstrating not only the ability to lead and supervise others, but also to thrive independently in a multicultural environment. She is a versatile professional, which has facilitated her to transition from a field application specialist to a marketing manager and now to more of a sales oriented role. She has been associated with leading genomic organizations such as Life Technologies, Affymetrix, Illumina, and many more. This dynamic individual is not just a director. She is a catalyst for innovation, a mentor, and a driving force in the ever evolving landscape of genetic sciences. Welcome, Georgia, to our talk show, Minicast. Firstly, I would like to congratulate you on your recent promotion. I still remember our brief conversation during one of our official trips where you briefly mentioned that you are planning to shift to more of a sales oriented role. Congratulations on becoming the director, subject matter expert at SOPHiA Genetics.
Thank you. Since then, I got another promotion, but I don't have the promotion yet. I don't have the paperwork yet, so I cannot comment on that one.
Okay, fingers crossed it works well for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So for our viewers who don't know Georgia, Georgia is actually a PhD in molecular biology. But still she prefers being called by her first name and not Dr. Georgia. Your humility and your ability to connect people across cultures have always inspired me. With the brief amount of talks we have had during our official trips, whenever you were here in India, you're completely inspirational for me specifically. So,
Thank you very much.
Tell us about your career journey. Like you started with the PhD in molecular biology to the director of one of the leading data-driven medicine software companies in the world. How was it like?
It was a very interesting journey. I did my degree in Italy, then I moved to Germany for my PhD. And after my PhD, I went to work for the University of Glasgow in the UK for 6-7 years. While I was doing my first postdoc there, I was approached and I was asked if I wanted to become the manager of the sequencing facility, because my background was sequencing already. My PhD was in sequencing, Sanger sequencing at the time, and I had a lot of experience. So I thought about the opportunities and I decided to take this role on. I spent 6 years doing this work at the University of Glasgow. The facility expanded from a simple sequencing facility. We became a microarray and sequencing facility. We got a couple of bioinformaticians that were working for us doing the analytics as well. So it became bigger and bigger. The most exciting part of that job was really to help the clients and to support the clients to learn a better way of working. Since then, I decided to move to a commercial role and I went to be technical support in Affymetrix. Affymetrix at the time was the leading company for microarrays. And after spending a few years in Affymetrix, I moved to what was called at the time Invitrogen, that became Life Technology and afterwards became part of Thermo Fisher. And in Invitrogen, I was the bioinformatics technical support. And after being the bioinformatics technical support for a couple of years, my family decided to move to Australia. So I try to find a job in Australia, and Australia being a very, very exciting country and very open to new prospects, I managed to get a job as a salesperson. That was my first and only job until now as a salesperson. And I sold different instrumentation, Agilent, I sold Agilent NGS product, I sold Agilent microarray product, and I also sold the instrumentation from Agilent. This was a short-lived opportunity because a job came up as a next generation sequencing field application specialist for Thermo Fisher, or better, Life Technologies at the time, with their new product, Ion Torrent. So I was very excited about sequencing still, and I thought, do I want to sell? Do I want to do technical support and support clients? And as you say, I really have a passion for supporting clients, so I moved into that role. After that, I became a technical support field application for Illumina, and then I had a short period where I was a marketing person in Illumina. And there I realized that sometimes you need to do some jobs to learn if you really like them or if you don't really like them. So I decided to take a hiatus for a few years. And for 2 years, I decided to spend time with my family. And then a very dear friend of mine said to me that there was the opportunity to go back into a technical role with a new company that just came into Australia. That was SOPHiA Genetics. So since then, I've been in SOPHiA Genetics. I've been in SOPHiA Genetics for 6 years. It is the longest company I've ever worked for. Normally, I spend between 2 and 3 years in a company. This one has been very long. And the main reason is because of all the challenges and the excitement of working for a small company like SOPHiA. And all the different exciting clients that I meet, but also the people like you, the distributors, people with whom we interact every day, even if though maybe they are not our direct client, they are still our clients. So I find that part very exciting. I just wanted to say that since I've been with SOPHiA Genetics, I have changed 3, 4, 5, 6. I've changed 4 roles.
Yeah.
In 6 years, I've changed 4 roles. And maybe in the next few weeks, I will get my new challenge. But as such a young company, as such a new company in such a different field compared to where I was before. Yes, I have the background of NGS, but I never had the background of all the analytics. So it is really inspiring to me working for a company that has such a broad and exciting time with the new technologies.
I agree. But so you have been in different roles. So you started as an FAS, then briefly as a bioinformatics person, and then into sales. And but these are like different departments altogether. So what key skills helped you in transitioning from one role to another across departments? How was?
I think that the most important skills that you need is adaptability. And it sounds like a very silly thing. Come on, everybody's adaptable. No, a lot of people are not adaptable. They don't realize it until they are in the position of deciding they're on a crossroad and they have to decide, do I go left or do I go right?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you really see the difference between people that are adaptable and people that maybe they feel more comfortable in a specific type of roles. And there is nothing wrong in being comfortable. On the contrary, I wouldn't be able to do what I do if I wouldn't have a lot of people around me that are comfortable in their roles. So it's really an important equilibrium.
Yeah, very interesting perspective. But so I
Yeah,
think You are in the industry for over 2 decades now, right? If I'm not wrong. So since your PhD, it has been more than 2 decades. So in this,
Yes.
okay.
No, it's not 30 years, it's 25 years, a quarter of a century.
Wow, wow, that's a lot. So in the past 25 years, working across industries, across departments, across cultures, was there any moment that made you feel like an outsider?
A lot,
A
a
lot?
lot, a lot. Because even when I did my PhD, I was an Italian living in Germany. And I moved to Germany 5 years after the wall came down. So and I moved to the east of Germany, so to the part that was previously a communist country. So it was a very strong cultural shock. And I didn't speak German. I spoke very little English. I wanted to go to Germany and I wanted to learn the language and I wanted to live in a different country. So that was my first big cultural shock.
But
And
how,
when I moved to the
yeah,
UK, yeah,
but
sorry,
how did
go
you
ahead.
survive? So yeah, that's like, how did you survive the cultural shock?
I loved it. I loved it.
Mhm.
Again, it all comes back to adaptability. And as an example, I can give you, my husband and I met in Germany. My husband is British. And when we discussed where to live after our PhDs, I said, oh, we could stay in Germany. And he's a very adaptable person in a lot of things. But he didn't feel comfortable in staying in a country where he wasn't mastering the language 100%. Whereas I felt comfortable because I left my country and I went into a country that didn't speak my language. They gave me the choice. You can learn German or you can learn Russian. These are the two languages we speak. So it's up to you. So, and you see, we go back to the same word, adaptability is adaptability, adaptability. Some people by character, by nature, are very much, yeah, I adapt. Afterwards, my husband adapted very well in speaking Italian, and he speaks Italian not like a native, but nearly like a native. He speaks very well Italian now. But before, he was disturbed about living in a country where he couldn't speak the language. So you see, at a certain point in your life, you reach a crossroad and you decide, am I going to do that? Or I'm going to be safe and do something that I feel comfortable with. People shouldn't be judged if they decide to feel comfortable with something. But at the same time, people shouldn't be judged if they decide to go for something different.
Yeah. In my experience, what I found is people who get out of their comfort zone, they succeed at a much higher rate, especially when we talk about our career paths. They get to
It depends.
explore more avenues.
It depends. Some people change career path very new, very young in their
Hmm.
career, and then they continue on that path 100%.
True.
And they are very successful
True.
because what they have started with was not their ideal situation, but they found what was good for them.
True.
To me, every day is a new day. Every day I get excited about something new. And every day I want to learn about something new. That's what I love about SOPHiA. That's what I love about my job. And that's what I love about my interaction with people. I love to go to new countries because I learn how to behave in a slightly different way, because every culture is special. Even in India, when I come to India,
Yeah.
I don't behave in the same way in Delhi as I do in Bangalore or as I do in Hyderabad or in Ahmedabad. So
like you are very respectful for the people around, for the culture. That is something which I have noticed in you. You do not, like, working with you in India was never tough. you always were very adaptable. You always were very at ease, and you make the other people at ease as well. So yeah, you have
Thank you for
always
that.
been respectful. That I agree.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's great feedback. I still have to learn. I'm still learning, but
And
I'm
I
working
still
towards perfection.
So, coming back to our questions, so was there any turning point in your career? So, like you have mentioned that there were many points, there were many moments in your life where you had to choose either this road or that road. But what was the main turning point in your life?
I think the main turning point was really to start with SOPHiA Genetics.
Starting from working for a very small company.
Yes, because I worked for a small company before, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't a company that produced the product. It was a company that distributed the product. So I worked for a distributor, and it was interesting. It was nice, but there was no ownership.
Hmm.
Whereas working for SOPHiA, you have the ownership of the product. You talk with the people that have developed the product directly. You discuss about the opportunities. You talk with people in product management, in R&D department, in the data science department, in the IT department. So there are so many different areas that you need to connect to and to learn how to liaise with.
I think which was one of the reasons why you stick to SOPHiA for about 6 years, the longest.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, because it's so easy. It's never dull. It's never simple. There is always a new challenge. I love challenges. I will find my job very boring if there were no challenges.
That is true. That is something I can vouch for.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for some of our viewers who are new to the term field application specialist, like I was at some point of time, who better to ask than Georgia herself, a one woman army. So, could you please explain for our viewers what an FAS does?
So interestingly enough, in some cases, it really depends on the company. But normally what a field application specialist job entails is technical support on both sides, on pre-sales and post-sales. Normally, field application specialists are the first people to be called when a salesperson wants to sell a highly technical product to a client. A field application specialist is normally not trained in sales, so their understanding of sales and sales cycle is very limited. But what they understand very well is the product and how to discuss at a technical level with a client. In regards to the post-sales is after the client has purchased the product, supporting the product in the field, going to visit the customer, training the customer, educating the customer on how to use the product, sometimes even troubleshooting. That is all part of a field application specialist role.
Like I said before, and I was corrected, that you have been in the industry for about 25 years. So you must have experienced few changes, you must have experienced few transitions in the field of genomics, basically.
Many.
Many. Exactly. So kindly share your experiences of the changes that you have seen, how the field of genomics have evolved, particularly.
When I started the sequencing, we were doing sequencing using radioactive material.
That sounds dangerous.
My first PCR was 3 different baths, water baths at different temperature. And you have to move the tubes from the highest temperature to the lowest temperature to the highest temperature again. You did it manually, yes. This was my first ever PCR.
Okay.
It was for a very short time. The PCR machines were already in the field, but my laboratory was a bit one of the poor laboratories. So we didn't have a PCR machine at the time. But the first time I did more of a research, applied research, I did PCR. I did a lot of PCRs, a lifetime of PCRs.
Okay.
And to me, the changes that you have seen from my early days of studying, I started university in 1987. So a long time ago.
A long time. I
And
wasn't even born.
that's right. And most people aren't born at that time. But in 1987, we didn't even have, it was really the beginning of molecular genetics, of molecular genomics. We had the sequencing, but it was very early stages of sequencing. So my first sequencing gel was a film where there was, as I say, radioactive material, and we had to load a different lane for each of the bases, because if you put them together, you didn't know which one was which. And then we have to read A, C, G, C, A, T, and we had to jump around in the 4 lanes on this big film, a photographic film. So it was exciting, very exciting. But also very, very challenging. And today the challenges are different. It's not that there are no challenges. The younger generation has a lot of other challenges. And I think that a lot of people do not like to go in research or in a technical field, because they think, why should I work for research when I can make more money working for a bank or being a lawyer? It's the reality.
True. True.
But I think that people that are passionate about it will always go back to it, because I never enjoyed research in itself, but I always enjoyed to help people that were doing research. And that's one of the reasons why I transitioned from a pure research role into a more technical support role, where I could still work with people that were doing research, but at a different level. So that is a big change in my career as well. But when I see young people, I see that sometimes they don't know what to do, and maybe they should try different things. That's what I did. I tried different things, and I then decided what I really wanted to do.
Got it. That I agree with, that you need to try out the opportunities that you have in front of you, if you have, and then figure out what works for you, what is the best suited option for you.
Correct.
So, one thing which I want to share from my own personal experience with you is that I started my FAS journey seeing you work with clients, and you are like I said, you are like a one-woman army. You are at a completely different zone. You make clients at ease. The way you explain technical concepts, the complicated technical concepts to the clients, which help them understand it much better. For our viewers, what advice do you want to give them, especially young minds who want to pursue their career in STEM?
The first thing is try. You never know until you try. There are some kind of jobs that can look maybe a bit boring, maybe repetitive, but when you do it, you find a great passion in it. And there are some jobs that they seem to be very exciting and very stimulating. And when you do them, you discover that they are horribly boring. So until you are in there, you, as we say, you put your hands in the pie, you try something new, then you will not be able to find out what is the best.
That is true. Thank you so much, Georgia. It was a pleasure talking to you.